First of all, I would like to thank the organizers. Merci beaucoup de m'avoir invité. C'est un grand plaisir de venir ici. Je vais parler en anglais parce que c'est plus facile pour moi pour présenter. Bon, my presentation is called Financial Instruments, a Bird's Eye View. Financial instruments because they are very important. And a bird's eye view has got two reasons to be there. One, because it is from far away, and two, because as the bird flies, the view changes. So at the moment, as things stand, the financial instruments, their basic or implementation characteristics are changing. So that was the reason for the name. I would like to actually present three main instruments, and I'm sure a lot of you would know more than I do, especially for the multi-annual financial framework, which is the 2014-2020 framework, and which have five what? If you see, I left that five afterwards to see, are you awake? It has got 5 different funds. The Rural Regional Development Fund, the Cohesion Fund, the Structural Fund, etc. Then I'm going to present a bit less the Connecting Europe facility, which my Signor Longo spoke a little bit about it. And of course, Horizon 2020, which is the new research framework. If we start with the new multi-annual program for regional funds, we are going to see that the main aim of these funds is to actually ensure that we are reaching the Europe 2020 funds, which are those for smart, sustainable and inclusive growth in the European Union. This is something that we really need, because what is happening now, this crisis which is across Europe, it is also, if you take it philosophically, a kind of catharsis. So we are going to a new phase, a phase where we are going to actually take care of our planet. So we go to sustainable. We take care of our people, we go for inclusive, and we make sure that we do that smartly with the networks. So, durable, intelligence, and inclusive croissance. The differences that we are going to see in the new common multi-annual financial framework. First of all, we are going to see a new feature, which is the common strategic framework. What is the common strategic framework? The common strategic framework is this document which is going to translate all the objectives, all the strategies, whatever we are thinking in doing, into key actions, proper key actions. And they are 376 billion euro to actually ensure that this happens. And if we look into the old package, we will see that in the period 2007-2013, we had 3 billion euro in broadband grants. So within the regional policy, we are going into actually making sure that broadband is considered and implemented. This new multi-annual framework, it has got 11 objectives. The last one had 13, I think, with 3 or perhaps 4 priorities, and I'm going to explain to you why they might be 4. The first one is, of course, strengthening research, technological development and innovation. The second one is enhancing the competitiveness of SMEs, the agricultural sector, through the European Agricultural Federal Regional Fund for Regional Development, and the fisheries and agriculture sector, that fund. Then supporting the shift towards a low-carbon economy in all sectors. Those are the three objectives which at the moment are discussed as being the three priorities. But the Danish presidency proposed that objective number 4 enhances access and use and quality of information and communications technology should be included in the three priorities. This inclusion means that the way and the money that is allocated to the different key actions needs to be related to the main priority. So most of the money goes there. But one should not forget that broadband, information and telecommunication technologies are major enablers. You need them in order to make sure that you shift towards a low-carbon economy. You need them to actually help SMEs by helping them going online, selling their products. You need them to strengthen both research and, of course, innovation. So let's hope that they're going to be included there. We learned a lot of lessons from the previous multi-annual finance. I'm going to call it MFF because it's too long. And we should improve. We should improve by consolidating state aid schemes. We should exploit the synergies, and we should make sure the ICT component is incorporated in every single infrastructure project. We should actually improve the coordination in ICT, including an improved system of delivery of projects, preparation, targeting, implementation, and the selection, which means that all administrative procedures need to be streamlined. Of course, you know, I come from the European Commission. If something is difficult, we always try to make it even more difficult. So, anyway, this we are going to actually change. We are trying to change it and make simplified processes, go bottom-up approach processes. We are really, really trying. And of course, we need you to help us see where we are wrong. We need a market analysis to avoid crowding out of private investment. Private investment is very important also because it doesn't matter how much the European Commission might give through funds. It doesn't matter how much the state would give. It's not enough because at the moment we really need everybody to push and actually set up. And then of course we need to respect the principle of technological neutrality. What is new in this MFF, or MFF, yes? First of all, we can use and be financed in by more than one instrument, which means, for example, we can start something with regional funds in an innovation incubator, have an idea, then submit this idea to Horizon 2020. When we finish and we arrive in the pre-commercial stage, we go back to the regional funds and have the money to actually overcome the valley of death, which is what is our problem in Europe, that we develop but we don't commercialize. And then our friends from the States or from Japan or from China come take our products and make money out of them. Then we are not going to actually give the money and say, right, you have 20 billion to do this and you have... No, because now we are asking money to come back from a lot of projects that haven't been materialized. So this financing will be based on progress. You commit yourself to do something in A, B, C, D stages. You get the money for stage 1. Once this is completed, you get the money for stage B. And that is very good. It's very good for the states because I know for my own country, they are now asking 300, I'm Greek by the way, so you can understand they are asking the state for 340 million euro because they did not manage to complete their undertakings. Then we've got the smart specialization strategies, which are very important. Why? Because each region should use their competitive advantage in order to prepare their operational plans, and they should only focus on one or two actions. In the last program again, it was very fashionable to work on nanotechnology. So everybody, every single region, or almost every single region, said they are going to do something with nanotechnology, but they didn't have the competence. You don't get the competence from one day to the other. So once you actually concentrate on your competitive advantage, you work better. And the other new thing are the conditionalities which we find in digital growth and in broadband. There are some specific criteria on how you can ask money. Now all this information you can find in the Smart Specialization Strategies platform. I've got the link there, but if you say Smart Specialization platform and you Google it, perhaps you get even fast, I don't know. And there you will see how to prepare your smart specializations, what you should do, and how you really can interconnect between regions in different areas and actually having your competitive advantage. We are now going to the Connecting Europe facility. Mark had a question about why transport, energy and telecommunications. First of all, because transport, energy and telecommunications are part of the old trans-European networks. So what the Connecting Europe facility is doing is replacing, in inverted commas, the previous trans-European networks, the TENs, as we used to call them. So there is a proposal, and it's still a proposal because it's going to pass from the Parliament, I think. The regulation is expected to be adopted on October the 19th, but there are still a few issues to be solved. So the proposal says that they are to allocate 40 billion to fund infrastructure in the next financial framework, and another 10 billion which will goes only to the cohesion countries. What is the aim of the Connecting Europe facility? Is the same thing: sustainable, smart and fully interconnected transport, energy and digital networks. And if you see a little bit with the multi-financial framework, in reality the priorities are the same. There isn't much difference. I said that this is going to be adopted in October 19, and as Signor Longo said, there are two priorities: the broadband networks, including the regulatory framework for telecommunications, and the digital service infrastructure. It is important, but what is most important, that most of the funds out of that will come from the private sector, because CEF, the Connecting Europe facility, will be implemented primarily through financial instruments. It is conducive to private investment and is also aiming for infrastructure with a European and single market perspective and dimension. Providing this access to finance initially will speed up investment and exert competitive pressure on the telecom companies who do not have an incentive at the moment to invest in the absence of alternative investors. And finally, the Commission will work with the European Investment Bank in order to manage the financial instruments. But be careful, this is not grants. If you want grants, you go to regional facilities. And finally, very quickly, because I think I am a little bit over my time,
Take your time.
I would like to talk a little bit about the Horizon 2020. Horizon 2020, for most of you that know, it's a good new name for Framework 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had the pleasure to work in all 7 of them. So now it changes, so perhaps about time I go on pension. Because now it's going to be called Horizon 2020. And why it's Horizon? It's good. There's a good idea. Up to now we had CIP, which was program X. Then we had program Y. Then we had program Z. So we said, fine, we are going to bring all the research innovation programs together. We are going to give it 80 billion, which is good money. And the part of the proposal would be to actually complement what I just told you before, complement the structural funds and complement the area of education. Because we talked about interoperability, we talked about digital connection, we haven't talked about something else which is very important. We didn't talk about digital skills or lack of, which is extremely important. It's no use having all these fantastic instruments, connections, and you have no people to actually use them, because we have a serious problem in finding skilled people. We are going up to the million mark lacking of skills in a Europe that suffers very high unemployment. So bear that in mind. Now, a core part of the Europe 2020 would be, one, to respond to the economic crisis, which is again working in future jobs and growth, and that's why we are going to really push on skills. Addressing people's concerns about their livelihoods, safety and environment, and also looking at the aging population, issues like e-health and connection to e-diagnosis, and all these are very important. And finally, strengthening the EU's global position in research, innovation and technology. We, during this period of crisis, we had a growth, we had development through ICTs, which was 2%. It was 46% in the US. So are we doing something wrong? I suppose we do. So we said that it's a single program. There is more innovation. It will focus on societal challenges, and it will simplify access. So believe me when I say we really try to make things easier. And for this, we actually had last week Competitiveness Week, where we tried to get ideas and have 20 priorities, or 2019, 21, but a few priorities on how to actually go about setting up Horizon 2020. How would the financing be? What the key areas? And you could actually go into Competitiveness Week of the next. I don't have the site because it only finished last week, so it hasn't been published yet. We are still giving the report. But you could always send me an email and I will pass on your ideas. Because the goals for us in the Commission, but for you, the people of Europe, are the same. And those are growth, jobs, competitiveness, better articulation of research and innovation, seamless funding from idea to the market, overcome the valley of death, get a product which actually goes into the European market. Thank you very much.